Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, here you can see that basically we are going to talk about the National Human Rights Commission. Okay, this is another important topic from the examination point of view, and the question arises from this topic in various competitive exams. Okay, and these are the topics that we have scheduled for the discussion under this particular series. Like we are going to talk about the establishment of the commission. Thereafter, we are going to talk about the composition of the commission. Thereafter, we are going to talk about the functions of the commission. Thereafter, we are going to talk about the working of the commission. Thereafter, we are going to talk about the role of the commission. Thereafter, we are going to talk about the performance of the commission. Okay, so these are the topics that we are going to study. All right, but before this, let us understand what is the meaning of human rights and how it is different from the fundamental rights. Like many times I have seen the students who get confused between the human rights and the fundamental rights. Generally, they are not able to differentiate between these two. Okay, so first we are required to understand the meaning of human rights, thereafter in respect of the fundamental rights. So basically, if we talk about the human rights, all the rights required by the human or person for survival and well-being is the human rights, including all the or maximum social, political, and economical rights. All the rights required by the human or person for survival and well-being, including all the maximum social, political, and economical rights. These are the human rights. Thereafter, if we talk about the fundamental rights, then these are all the rights required by the human or person for survival and well-being against the arbitrary powers of the state, including political rights only. So that's the difference. Like human rights, all the rights required by the human or person for survival and well-being, including all the or maximum social, political, economical rights. Fundamental rights, all the rights required by the human or person for survival and well-being against the arbitrary powers of the state, including the political rights only. Okay. So from here, you can draw the conclusion that the fundamental rights is basically the subpart of the human rights. But the human right is not the subpart of the fundamental rights. Okay, so that's the thing. Now let's talk about the history of human rights, like how it was evolved. Okay, so that's the thing. If we try to trace the history of human rights, that basically it is starting with the ancient Greece. Okay, in ancient Greece, various philosophers had provided the rights and provided the liberties which should be implemented in general so that the people of that particular state in which they are living in could be free in their social life, in their economical life, in their political life. Okay, because we know if we talk about the you can say the history, then maximum are ruled by king or queen, maximum areas, king or queen or chiefs. All right, and generally they had the unlimited powers in respect of governing their people. Okay, like in movies, like in stories, like somewhere in your dramas, you had seen it. Okay, like there was a person who was not liking by the king, then the king ordered to butcher the person, slaughter the person. Okay, even throw the person into the custody for long durations, years. Okay, the king or the queen or the chiefs implementing and announcing the taxes and all. There are so many things you have seen and heard. All right, so basically that's the thing that the king, queen, or chiefs were ruling the maximum kingdoms and the areas, and they had the unlimited power. So, generally, the people whom they govern were basically exploited a lot. Okay, so that is the main reason why various philosophers, starting with the ancient Greece, had thought about and processed their thoughts in the books regarding the liberties which could be granted in the fields of social, economical, political, so that the unlimited powers of the king, queen, or chiefs who were governing the particular state would be controlled. Okay, and when we talk about it in the modern terms, in the modern terms or modern times, okay, so basically it is against the forces of the kingdom. Why? Because we know all over the world there is a long history of wars, conflicts, and aggressions. Okay, all over the world, and generally the winning party exploited the defeated party. That is what we have seen. Winning parties exploited the defeated parties. Okay, in their exploitation, they not only including the defeated soldiers, but even they including the civilians of defeated state or kingdom in the celebration of their winning. Okay, that's the thing. So what happened regarding this? Like in the modern terms, when the world was converting into a democratic states. All right. So there was a time period from 1939 to 1940. What happened during this time period? That was a time period of World War II. Okay, where there was a huge exploitation happened all over the globe. That's why in 1949 there was a declaration made which is known as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In short, known as UDHR, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And which organization made it? United Nations Organization, UNO. Okay, UNO passed it. And that is basically about the protection of the humans who are living all over the globe against the exploitation. Okay, and against the arbitrary powers. But what happened? Like there is so many loopholes, there were so many areas which to be improved. So that's why again there was a time period in 1966 where two things happened. The first is the International Covenant on International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR. Okay. Second one was International Covenant on Economic and Social Rights, ICESR. So these two basically adopted by the United Nations Organization or the UN. Okay, and that basically binded all the member states to implement human rights, binding all the member states to implement the human rights. Okay, so here you can see like 1966 International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and International Covenant on Economic and Social Rights, ICCPR, ICESR. Okay, passed by United Nations Organization. Okay, and UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1949. Okay, these are the basic foundations regarding the human rights in all over the globe. And following this, India also moved towards the establishment of National Human Rights Commission. Okay, so I hope that the history behind this has been clear to you all. Now let's move with the topic ahead. So basically, the National Human Rights Commission is a statutory body. It means that originally it was not provided in the Constitution. We know that the Constitution was repealed in 1949 and implemented in 1950. Okay, till then there is no provision regarding the human rights in the Constitution. Only the fundamental rights and the DPSP were provided for the social, economic, and the political rights. But thereafter, the National Human Rights Commission established as a statutory body. It means that it is having its own rules and regulations to operate. Okay, it was in 1993 under a legislation enacted by the Parliament, namely the Protection of the Human Rights Act 1993. So remember that was the particular act, the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. That was the particular year, and that is the type of body, and this is the name of the commission. Okay, remember these two things. The commission is the watchdog. Watchdog means which look after something, and human rights is a thing in which you can say human rights are things after which it looks up. That is the rights relating to the life, liberty, equality, and dignity of the individual, guaranteed by the Constitution or embodied in the international covenants and enforceable by the courts in India. Okay, that's the thing. Thereafter, if we talk about the specific objectives of the establishment of the commission, like we know that there was an act named as the Protection of Human Rights Act. (1993). That was the particular act which led to the establishment of Human Rights Commission. But we know that basically India also tried to enforce the three things. The first is Universal Declaration of Human Rights. UDHR. Second is International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, and then International Covenant of Economic and Social Rights, ICESR. Okay, these three things, but with some modifications. All right. So basically, there were some specific objectives that we had planned for the National Human Rights Commission in India. Why? Because the conditions in India are different from rest of the world. So the first objective that we had planned for this is to strengthen the institutional arrangements through which human rights issued could be addressed in their entire, okay, in a more focused manner. Okay, to look into allegations of excesses independently of the government in a manner that would underline the government's commitment to protect human rights. Third, to complement and strengthen the efforts that have already been made in this direction. Thereafter, if we talk about the composition of the commission, like what is the composition of the commission, if we talk about this, then we could say the commission is a multi-member body. It means that it is not functioning by a single person, consisting of chairperson and 5 members. So, how many members are total there? 6 members. Chairperson and the 5 members. The chairperson should be a retired Chief Justice of India or the Judge of Supreme Court. That is the first thing you are required to note down. He should be the retired Chief Justice, or a judge of the Supreme Court. And member should be a serving or retired judge of the Supreme Court. Okay. Serving or retired Chief Justice of High Court and 3 persons, out of which at least one should be a woman. Okay. So there is a 1/6 reservation provided to him, having knowledge or practical experience with respect to the human rights. Thereafter, in addition to all these full-time members, Commission also having 7 ex-officio members. Okay. And what are these ex-officio members? These are the members who could take part in the, you can see the meetings, but does not having the voting rights. Okay. The chairpersons of the National Commission for Minorities, the National Commission for Scheduled Castes, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, National Commission for Women, National Commission for Backward Classes, and National Commission for Protection of Children's Rights, and the Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities. So, the chairpersons and the chief persons of these are the 7 ex-officio members. The chairpersons and the members are appointed by the President of India on the recommendations of 6-member committee, which consists the Prime Minister, who is the head, Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, Leader Opposition on both the Houses of Parliament, and the Central Home Minister. Okay, which is also, you call it as a Union Minister, Union Home Minister. Okay, so this is the 6-member committee which recommends the name, and out of which the President appoints a person. Further, a sitting judge of the Supreme Court or the sitting Chief Justice of High Court can be appointed only after consultation with the Chief Justice of India. It means that if it's a matter of sitting judge appointment who is also already serving, then without the consultation with the Chief Justice of India, no one could be appointed. Alright. Thereafter, the chairperson and members hold office for a term of 3 years or until they attain the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. Okay. So total tenure is 3 years or the 70 years of age. They are eligible for reappointment. It means that if they appointed once, it does not mean that they will not appointed any further. They could appoint it multiple of times until they attain the age of 70 years. After their tenure, the chairperson and members are not eligible for further employment under the central or the state government, but they could be only appointed for the National Human Rights Commission again, but not under the other branch of the central or the state government. Okay. Thereafter, the President can remove the chairperson or any member from the office under the following circumstances. First, if he is adjudged or insolvent, is the first condition. Second, if he is engaged during his term of office any paid employment outside the duties of his office, then he would be removed. If he is unfit to continue in office by reason of infirmity of mind or body. Fourth, if he is of unsound mind and stands so declared by a competent court. Fifth, if he is convicted and sentenced to imprisonment for an offense. So these are the areas on which the President can remove the chairperson or any member from the office. Okay. In addition to these, the President can also remove the chairperson and any member on the ground of proved misbehavior or incapacity. But in these cases, the President has to refer the matter to the Supreme Court for an inquiry. Without Supreme Court inquiry, the President could not take the action. If the Supreme Court, after the inquiry, upholds the cause of removal and advises so, then the President can remove the chairperson of the member. But if not, then the President would not remove. Thereafter, the salaries, allowances, and other conditions of service of the chairperson or the members are determined by the central government and cannot be varied to his disadvantage after his appointment. It means that whatever the salary, allowances, and the service condition decided before the appointment, that could not be changed after the appointment. All the above provisions are aimed at securing the autonomy, provided a secure term, independence, impartiality in the functioning of the function so that they could operate properly. Thereafter, if we talk about the functions of the commission, what are these? The functions of the commission are to inquire into any violation of human rights or negligence in the prevention of such violation by a public servant, either suo motu or a petition presented to it or an order of appeal. Suo motu means without any petition directly they could organize the investigation, or petition means when someone complains about it. To intervene in proceedings involving allegation of violation of human rights pending before a court. Thereafter, to visit jails and detention places to study the living condition of inmates and make recommendations thereof for the improvement. Thereafter, to review the constitutional and other legal safeguards for the protection of human rights and recommend measures for their effective implementation. And to review the factors including acts of terrorism that inhibit the enjoyment of human rights and implement measures. To study treaties and other international instruments on human rights, make recommendations for their effective implementation, undertake and promote research in the field of human rights, spread literacy among the people, promote awareness of safeguards available for protection of these rights, encourage efforts of non-governmental organizations, famously known as the NGOs, working in the field of human rights, undertake such other functions as it may consider necessary for the promotion of human rights. Okay. Thereafter, now we have the working of the commission. So, the commission headquarters lie at Delhi and can also establish its offices at other places in India. Vested with the power to regulate its own procedure, it has all the powers of the civil court and its proceedings have the judicial character. May call for information and report from the central and the state government or any other authority subordinate thereto. The commission has its own nucleus of investigating staff for investigation into complaints of human rights violation. Besides, it's empowered to utilize the service of any officer or the investigation agency of the central government for the government purpose. Also establish effective cooperation with the NGOs with first-hand information about the human rights violation. Thereafter, the commission is not empowered to inquire into any matter after the expiry of 1 year from the date on which the act constituting violation of human rights is alleged to have been committed. Other words, it can look into the matter within 1 year of its occurrence. If the time period has been crossed, then the commission is not required to look into it. The commission may make any following step during or upon the completion of an inquiry. May recommend to concerned government or authority to make payment of compensation or damages to the victim. May recommend to the concerned government or authority the initiation of proceedings for the prosecution or any other action against the guilty public servant. May recommend to the concerned authority or government for the grant of immediate interim relief to the victim. It may approach the Supreme Court or High Court concerned for necessary direction, orders or writs. Okay, so let's move forward. So from the above, it is clear that the functions of the commission are mainly recommendatory in nature, not the action taken. No power to punish the violators of human rights, not to award any relief, including the monetary relief to the victim. It could only recommend it. Notably, its recommendations are not binding on the concerned government authority, but it should be informed of the action taken on its recommendations within 1 month. Okay. In this contents, a former member of the commission observed the government cannot wash away the recommendations made by the commission because the commission is not required to take the action by itself, but it could ask the government like what happened to the recommendations within these years. So the commission role. Now we are talking about the role of the commission. Commission roles may be recommendatory, advisory, yet the government consider the case furthered by it. It is therefore improper to say that the commission is powerless. Okay. Why? Because it could ask the government what action has been taken. Enjoys great martial authority and no government can ignore its recommendations. Moreover, the commission has limited rules, powers, jurisdiction with respect to the violation of human rights by the member of the armed forces. Okay. In this sphere, the commission may seek a report from the central government and make its recommendations. Thereafter, if we talk about the performance of the commission, the various human rights issues taken up by the commission are as like abolition of bonded labor, functioning of mental hospitals at Ranchi, Agra and Gwalior,
functioning of government protective home, women, Agra, issues concerning right to food, review of the Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929, protocols to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, preventing employment of children by the government servants, amendment of service rule, abolition of child labor, guidebook for media on sexual violence against children, trafficking in women and children, manual for the judicial for gender sensitization, san- sensitization program on prevention of sex tourism and trafficking, maternal anemia and human rights, rehabilitation of destitute women in Vrindavan. Okay. So, students, basically in this lecture, we had finished the National Human Rights Commission. Okay. There is nothing to tell you more about it. Okay. If you just read out the composition, if you just read out the functions, if you just read out the working and role and the performance and the establishment, so you will get it by yourself. There's nothing to explain it about for a long duration. Okay. So that's why I haven't spent it a time on it to explain you more and more. Why? Because that will only make some mix up in your mind. The things are very clearly mentioned in the slides. You can just read it and then you can recall that what you have learned. Okay. But there is a thing that most of the things in this, whatever we have learned, okay, they are interconnected to each other. So it is necessary that you make the clear understanding of it in your mind by revising it again and again. Okay. So with this note, let's end this lecture. And what we say thank you.